your practice session has ended. Please hold up on your practice bowling at this time. All right, spectators and guests, let's give these finalists another round of applause as they begin their double elimination match play competition.
And good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. Welcome to the 2017 Junior Gold Championships presented by the brands of Ebonite International. And you are watching the match play portion. Right here, we're going to have one match in the U15 boys on 25 and 26, and one match in the U20 boys on 27 and 28. I'm joined in the booth tonight by PBA Tour Champion Bill O'Neill and PBA PWBA Tour Rep from Ebonite International, Rob Gottschall. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, David.
So we're here. It's been a long day of qualifying, and now the fun starts. We get match play. They've got 2-game total pin matches. This is double elimination. We've got 16 players in each of the 4 divisions left. We've actually got the U15 and U20 girls bowling tonight as well on the other end of the center. And so they're going to bowl 2 matches tonight. This is all first match, and then the next match is going to be winner's bracket and contenders bracket. So right here in front of us in the U15, we've got Nolan Blessing and Alexander Horton. Nolan was the number 4 seed, Alexander the 13 seed. And in the U20, on 27 and 8, we've got the number 4 seed, Pete Vergos, against the number 13 seed, Nathan Stubler. And it should be a fun evening, gents.
Yeah, the match, the head-to-head matches, elimination is always a lot of fun, especially when it's 2 games. It's quick. You got to get off to a good start. Anything can happen. It's a totally different mindset than bowling qualifying.
Yeah, it definitely is. There's something totally different about this, and it's not necessarily just bowling for score anymore. Now you're bowling against an opponent that you're kind of paying attention to, and it's do or die now. It is double elimination, so you do get that little reprieve. If you lose once, you still have a chance to get back to the show. But man, it's a really long road if you lose that first match. So this first match is very important.
Yeah, as much as we talked about earlier, the scores being relative, and you have to look at the field and see what everybody's bowling. It's even more concentrated now. You only got to worry about one person's score. So
right.
It's even the score itself is totally irrelevant. It just matters what your opponent's doing, and as long as you beat that guy in that one game.
And a great shot by Nathan Stubler there after both he and Pete started with an open. And on 25 and 26 here, we've got a match of 2-handers in our U15 matchup. Looks like Alex Horton was starting with urethane. I didn't quite see what Nolan Blessing threw the first frame. Both start with spares. And we'll take a look at Pete Vergos over here on lane 28, trying to match the strike that Nathan Stubler just put up there. He's quite a ways left to start.
Go ahead.
Me and Bill were just talking about it at the end of practice. He pretty much spent the first 2-3 minutes of practice playing to the right, like way right, right of 10 of the arrows, and then all of a sudden at the very end he jumped way in, hit the pocket a couple times, and it looks like he's committed to doing it. But I believe in the first frame he washed out. Pattern looks very tricky.
Yeah, I mean, he was looking. He was committed to he's bowling left-hander, so he was trying to take a couple minutes and commit to playing a little further right, and maybe create a little bit spot for himself, and that's all part of the strategy of this format. But then when it looked like at the end of the practice, he just moved like 3 or 4 hours left, and just totally abandoned what he was doing for his first couple of shots of practice. So curious to see how he ends up playing him here these next game and a half.
And Bill, you said it best when he came on, is you got to get off to a good start. And when scores are going to be relatively low, a good start, you got to fill frames.
That was a much better shot right there.
He moved right. He for sure moved right there. Try to get a little bit further right off his hand, a little quicker.
And looks like Nolan is also throwing urethane, so we've got a battle of two-handed urethane on the U15.
It's a heck of a comeback there from Alexander there to fill that frame after letting that one get right and go in the gutter. I watched him practice quite a bit, and he was getting it pretty far right off his hand almost every shot. So hopefully it's maybe just some nerves and just got to settle in and then get back to his game.
Good spare there by Nolan.
Guys, I'm excited. We're now 16 bowlers left in each division. The best of the best.
We're now joined by Inside Bowling's very own Mike Flanagan.
I'm super excited. I'm looking around all the
We can tell in your voice.
I mean, what's funny, down in the U15 division, we got a really cool matchup. Down on the third pair, 15 and 16, we have Wes Malot's son bowling Parker Bones' son.
Yes, and their names are Jordan.
Yes.
And Justin. They have names. They're not just their father's sons.
But it doesn't
okay?
help with the storyline, Bill.
But you could say their first names too. Can we at least let them be their own people?
The storyline is Bone against Malott in Junior Gold.
Yeah.
Bowl TV, look out, it's after 8 o'clock.
Clickbait.
This is your team. Yeah, this is your team bringing you the action right now.
And a little.
I mean, if you really want to go down a path we don't want to go down, we'll talk about how Rob didn't get me any coffee. I didn't get a Starbucks, so I just drank bowling alley coffee. So who knows what's going to happen now?
Do us a favor, everybody. Give us a like down below if you like Bill O'Neill in the booth and he should get more Starbucks. Give us a like.
Apparently you had a double shot espresso or something right before we came on.
Sure did.
A little wired up.
Scores are looking very low to get started here. There's not a lot of strikes early on. I see a lot of opens early on, a lot of splits.
Nerves.
Yeah, I was just going to say, do you think that's a little more nerves than anything with now the format being a little different where it is elimination? And wow, what a
spare.
Nice job.
What a spare by Alexander Horton. And another great spare by Nathan Stubler there.
That's what's known as the left-hander's 3-9-10.
That would be the 2-7-8, sir.
For sure.
Bill, this is kind of like the round of 16 at the Masters, isn't it, right now, trying to bowl for TV?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you definitely don't want to. You definitely don't want to. You don't want to lose that first match because you don't want to get stuck in the what do they call it, the contenders bracket early. You don't want to get in that early and have to fight all the way back. So this match is really important.
Pete Virgos with a double there.
We got a fellow over here on 24. He fouled or he didn't foul. I don't know. He's camped out up there because he fouled the frame before, so he does. He actually fouled. He fouled and then made a spare, and then he fouled on his spare the next frame.
A great shot there by Nolan Blessing after the mishap there.
It's awfully close to that line, so I don't know.
We're going to take Pete Virgos getting up on a double here.
We've talked a lot about Pete Virgos, guys.
We have. He's been on our stream.
He's been like a magnet to this booth.
I talked to him for a couple of seconds. Nothing crazy, but he has an infectious personality. Like it's just something about him that kind of would draw people in.
He made a pretty good shot there, a little soft 10, but he's got a 2-pin lead, even in spite of the back-to-back opens to start the match.
Meanwhile, over here on 24, we still have our participant, Colby Money, over here, and he's still standing at the foul line off camera.
Wait. His real name is Colby Money?
Colby Money, that's his name.
That's an incredible name.
He could be the one that makes bowling explode on the scene, like Chris Moneymaker.
That's an incredible name. What's this conversation? You guys can't see it at home, but the 23 and 4, the tournament officials come up and talk to Colby as he's standing at the foul line. I'm just kind of curious what that conversation would be like.
I don't know.
Rob, Jay Karp's on the end, needs some new batteries. I'm going to toss them to you one at a time.
Spare there by
sorry about that.
Pete Virgos. Keeps a 2-pin lead through 5 frames. See, I can just go with lead or deficit now. I don't have to worry about pace or max score anymore.
That's right.
Service with a smile, guys. I'm working on getting the brackets for you guys.
But see, here's the thing. You kind of just a little bit dipped into a little bit of one of my pet peeves. Just a little bit.
What's that?
This is a half of one.
Okay. Oh, so we got another pet peeve.
It's a half. It's a half.
All right, I like
it. Doesn't really bother me because I understand the premise. I just do it the other way. Okay. He said, "Oh, he's got a 2-pin lead."
Now he's got a 3-pin lead.
Right. So, if I'm bowling, I know when you're looking at it, I guess it's different. I get up there in the 5th. If I'm Nathan, I get up there and go, I have the lead because I can strike out and win. So I have the lead. So how could I be losing? So if I strike out, I win. So I
You're
can't
correct.
look at that and go, oh, I'm planning on 9 sparing here.
No,
so
I
I should
was
be
planning on him getting a strike, but he still would have been 2 pins down until he threw the next one.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You folks in the chat, you be the judge.
That's crazy.
What's the best way to announce that? I personally also go with the max score.
I'm talking. Yeah, I think as a bowler, you have to go by max score. When you're sitting there, I guess when that's why I said it's a bit of a pet peeve because Dave's announcing, so it's different.
But right now,
you're
Bill,
calling the action.
Bill, how would you call the match on 27-28 right now? What is the advantage?
Well, he's up 3. They're both on spares.
Okay, do you agree with that, Dave?
Yes.
I agree with that as well. Rob, you good?
You're talking,
Absolutely.
Okay,
now you're
well, I just
talking-
fixed that. Done.
You're talking about 2 different things. As a bowler, yes, I'm looking
Yeah.
at max score. As an announcer, he technically is down, or was down 2 pins. Now he's down 3 because he got 9.
Okay. Sure.
So we're both right.
But the problem
Yeah.
is if he strikes out, that what you said wasn't accurate, and that's Bill's issue.
Yeah. So like if I'm the guy, if I'm Pete, and I'm sitting there and I go, oh, I'm up 2 pins, and then I strike out and lose. Well, I wasn't up 2 pins then, I guess, right?
But in the
We're getting a lot of max scores coming in on the chat.
Look at
max
that.
score, max
Look at
score. See, I mispronounced the name earlier, and now we're even. See, you were right earlier. Now the people are coming. They're coming in heavy. Coming in heavy for me.
Meanwhile, if you're just joining us, this is the greatest youth tournament in the world happening right now in front of us.
And we're arguing about the scores.
After 8 o'clock, that's what happens here.
That's what it is. What happens.
Brad Bridges, nobody really asked you. Thanks, though.
I tell you what, Nathan Stubler over here has made a couple really good spares
Yes.
to stay in this first game and keep it close.
Do you want to tell me what the tally is there? You want to tell me how many he's up or down?
To me, Pete's up 16.
Okay, just checking.
Pete's a good player. I think he's going to strike out. That's how I roll. Well, maybe not.
And great shot there by Nolan Blessing.
I really like the way that Nolan and Alex are playing the lanes over here on 25 and 26. Keeping it straighter, using the urethane ball, just basically trying to hit the head pin because they look very, very touchy right now.
Yeah.
You got Pete over here on the right lane, curving it quite a bit, and he misses a little left, ball jumps, misses right, it doesn't hook. Nathan on the left side, he's got a little bit of the same thing.
Interesting little tidbit of information there. Nolan Blessing had a 300 game at the age of 10. That's pretty impressive. Really good shot there for a double.
8-pin went late. Textbook. That's how Rob Gottschall split the 8-9 and the 10th frame a team event a couple years ago at the USBC Open Championships.
Long time ago, Mike.
Rob Bowles.
I believe it was the Game Breaker 2,
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Same
Oh.
ball I used again this year. That's the last time
you bowled
That's the
before
last
this
time
year?
I drilled a ball.
He's too busy ball repping for me and drilling me a bunch of balls. He doesn't have time to bowl for himself. He's selfless like that.
That was
Yeah.
a really good shot by Alexander Horton there.
That's
He
a ball
actually
change.
changed balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went away from the urethane ball there.
I'm just going to say it right now. I don't want either one of these guys on 25 and 26 to lose. I want them to tie
Yeah.
and just both advance. They're both cool. I really like these kids a lot.
Yeah, their demeanor's great.
Yeah.
I mean, they both get up, throw a shot, don't show a lot of emotion yet. We'll see how it goes as it gets down to the end.
Right. Early in the match, they're doing the right thing. Nate Stubler needs to find something over here. That was better shot. Better shot.
Yeah, it looks like he
Six
shut his angles down a little bit, just trying to go a little more up the lane.
I think Nate's issue right now is it looks like he's coming up out of the shot a little bit, and he's not creating any hold. And Rob can identify that really quickly because that's what he's been watching me do the last few months. He would come over to Bill, stop coming. You're just lifting up your back legs over your head. It's no good. So we're both able to identify that problem pretty quickly.
And it's really a simple fix. You got to tell him to trust his fundamentals. Obviously he's probably a little amped up, but the situation's a little different. You're in the final 16 out of 1,400 bowlers or whatever. We're in the U20 division on the boys' side.
That's pretty impressive already.
Yeah, for sure.
And you got to put yourself in the mindset of it's all gravy from here on out. You've made the cut. You've got to this point. Now enjoy the moment. All the people in the back are rooting for you, and you just execute, just bowl.
Yeah, it's definitely very, very easy to get into the little bit of a funk it looks like he's in because the lanes are hard. You only got 5 minutes of practice. You're not really sure what the lane pattern is, and they're tricky. So you feel like you're rushing 5 minutes to try to get loose and try to get lined up, and then you don't really know what your ball's doing. So it's very easy to get into a little bit of funk.
Yeah, you have to make a lot of decisions in 5 minutes. Yep. You got to try to identify what variables you can of the pattern. You got to go through your arsenal, decide which part of the lane's the best to play, which angle to play. It's a lot to process in 5 minutes, and now you're in a very pressured situation.
Well, if he ever comes on the Pro Bowlers Tour and makes a TV show, it's exactly what it's like.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of experience for him, getting 5 minutes and then running right out there and throwing a couple shots.
Yeah. I mean, when I work the women's tour now, we have a lot of first-time people make shows just because it hasn't been around for a long time. And the first thing I say is, this is going to be the fastest 10 frames of your life. You have to try to calm yourself down, go through your pre-shot routine, and you have to take your time. Because if you don't, it's going to go by in the blink of an eye, and next thing you know, it's going to be over.
The advice that I would give first-time people that are bowling TV shows and also to these kids who are bowling right now in this format is you have to believe that you will be here again. So if you are approaching this like I have to win and I have to do good because this is my only shot, then you're more than likely going to fail because you're just going to put way too much pressure on yourself. You have to have belief in yourself that I'm going to go out and do my best and I'm going to give it my all, but I'm going to be back in this position again. And and to me that's always how I try to approach it. Early in my career I didn't, but once I developed a little bit more of a career and a foundation, that's how I tried to go about it.
Well, and if you're one of these younger players in the field, hopefully your parent or coach is kind of telling you that because the guys that are 20 or that are bowling their last junior gold, they're putting all the pressure on themselves. And you've got more opportunities to get here, and you have to go in with that mindset. I mean, we got guys like Wesley Lowe. He knows this is his last go.
And he's bowled for 7 years, and I don't believe he's won this event. And it's
Who's that?
Wesley.
Yeah, he won in 2013.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Okay.
And he may have won the U15 before that.
I think he did win the U15.
He won the U20 at 16 years old, and I think he won the U15 before that. But I believe this Nathan Stubler here, I think he's a high school senior. I was talking to Brian O'Keefe earlier this week, and I'm pretty sure this is the lefty that's going to be going to McKendree. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that was the young man we were talking about.
Well, if that's the case, you can bet that in about 6 months you would see his game be a little bit different. Fundamentals will all be there, but I would guarantee that he's using his legs a lot more when he starts bowling for McKendree. Brian's an excellent coach.
McKendree men's, they've got a lot of recruits coming in. I know earlier he's kind of a fan favorite of mine, Andrew Orff. He's going there as well. They've got a lot of young talent coming into McKendree.
We're coming up to the 10th frame of game 1 here in a 2-game total pins match. You're watching the U15 and U20 boys round 1 of match play here on Bowl TV at the 2017 Junior Gold Championships. Everybody that's bowling right now is going to bowl again tonight. 8 in each division are going to move on in the winner's bracket. 8 in each division are going to move over to the contenders bracket, and they will bowl another round tonight. So there will actually be 4 people in all 4 divisions that are eliminated from the event tonight. And we will have that round 2 for you right here as well. Rob, somebody corrected you in the chat. Stubler's going to St. Ambrose.
My apologies.
That's why we love the chat.
Disregard what I said too. Thanks, Rob.
Just to take you around the horn here also, just to let you know what matchups we have here. We have Jeffrey Manns taking on Ryan Kendall. David Hooper's taking on Brian Halen. Ryan Winters is taking on Colin Walsh. Pete Virgos right here and Nathan Stubler. We see him duking it out right here on the lanes on our live stream. Christopher Yadao is taking on Caleb House. Justin Whistler is taking on Jake Farley. Michael Martell is taking on Cortez Shank, and Wesley Lowe is taking on Joseph Grondin.
That's our U20 division. And then in our U15, we've got the number 1 seed, Spencer Robarge, who won the U12 in this against Angelo Biondo. We've got Solomon Salama against Brandon Bonda. Connor Brink against your favorite name, Colby Money. Right here in front of us, we've got Nolan Blessing and Alex Horton. Nolan Blessing has a 25-pin lead after 1 game in that match. On the other side of the bracket, we've got Anthony Nyer, another son of PBA Tour champion Andy Nyer.
He just lost, was it the Senior U.S. Open, finished second?
Yes, he did. And he's taking on Michael Harmon Jr. Then we've got Nicholas Verano against TJ Rock. Our marquee match, Justin Bone and Jordan Malott. And then Brandon Heiska against Joshua Wilson. Game 1 in the Pete Virgos and Nate Stubler match. Pete Virgos with a 9 out in the 10th, and now only has a 4-pin lead when he had a chance to take about a 30-pin lead. So that could prove to be pretty important there.
Yeah, and he threw a good shot the first ball at 10th and left the blower 7. And just a little bit of a lapse of concentration there from Pete, and he let it get away from himself.
We'll get started with game 2 here in just a minute. They're writing down the scores, and here we go. Pete Virgos with a 4-pin lead, starting game 2.
Guys, I have a score to report and a feature marquee matchup down there. It was Brandon Bone, or Justin Bone, my bad. 158, Jordan Malott 105. 158 to 105. Parker and Wes both told me that the 2 of them cannot believe the scores that just happened, and they're a little besides themselves. They don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say either. Jordan actually bowled the PBA Extra Frame event in Jonesboro and was beating West for about 4 or 5 games. So I watched him bowl. He can bowl. He throws it pretty good. I definitely did not assume that 105 was going to be happening.
Well, we're underway over here in the U20 match in game 2. And looks like we're getting ready to get underway in the U15 matches also. Nate Stubler starting out with a spare. We'll try to get you some score updates on some of these matches. I can tell you, I can see over there, Jeffrey Mann had 237
It's only 200 game I see.
And his opponent is just now bowling the 10th frame. Can actually strike out for 221. He's staying in the match, and he got a great break in the 10th there. So
I got to report Wesley Lowe is down after the first game, 267 to 202.
wow.
Two of the higher scores we've seen
Yeah, no kidding.
on the same pair. Bill's guy Colby Money up 11 after one.
Sounds like Colby Money. It sounds like it should be some sort of like it should have been like an 80s band. He should have been the lead singer of an 80s band, right? Like, what was the guy's name? What was his name that did that? Was it Eddie Money?
Eddie Money?
Yeah. It was like his brother.
We got a bit of a barn burner down here on 13 and 14. TJ Rock opened up with 229 and defeated Nicholas Verano, 228 in game number 1. 229, 228.
Very tight match there. Both Nolan Blessing and Alex Horton both still struggling a little bit. Petey Virgo covers his spare, no problem. We're going to watch Nolan Blessing shooting the 128 now in the first frame. Going direct with the spare ball and leaves the 8 pin. So an open frame in the first frame.
Angelo Biondo, the 16 seed, defeated Spencer Robarge 225 to 181.
Spencer Robarge is probably a pretty heavy favorite right now, too, going into this. Down about 40 pins now in the first match. However, how many times have you guys seen it at the Masters or anything when you have a multiple game total pins match? How many times your opponent comes back from 50 down in the last game? It's amazing to me how many times it happens.
Jeffrey Mann with 237. Ryan Kendall, 220.
You were talking about Spencer. We interviewed him on the red carpet at the trade show last Saturday. I can't believe the kid's 15 years old. I mean, he's so well-spoken, so well-mannered. It was one of the best interviews we did all day. It was one of the first ones. And I was just mesmerized by what a great kid he was for 15 years old.
Yeah. He came, he was, when I was over at the USA Bowling Center yesterday, he was, his team actually made the show in the USA Bowling as well. And I got to talk to him for about 5 minutes, and it's the first time I'd ever really talked to him. And I got the same impression from him. He's just very well-spoken for being 15 years old.
Rob, I just got a text from Christy, and she was glad that I checked you on the naming of Jordan and Justin down there, because she gets tired of being called Bill O'Neill's wife. So she was very happy that I chimed in there.
I call her Christy.
That's right.
There we go. It's a good shot by Alex Horton.
You know your role. That's why.
Easy.
So Nate Stubler getting up, looking for a double here. Made a pretty good shot on the other lane. See if he can get dialed in on this left lane now. Really good shot for the double.
He looks a lot more relaxed. Even though he's down 4 pins going into the last game, but he looks a lot calmer than he was those first 5-6 frames.
It could have been a lot worse for him. He had the potential to be down, almost 40.
Right.
So to go into this game and be only down 4 pins, it has to lose the swing up a little bit.
Yeah, and that's when your opponent has a chance to double in the 10th and take a 30 or 40 pin lead and they open, it's almost like you get new life.
Yeah. And now since he threw that double, Pete decided to make a big move, and he moved 3 arrows to the right and decided to play him a little bit straighter, and he just missed the head pin. So I would almost guarantee that does not happen unless Nate throws that double. If he goes like open spare or spare, Pete probably stays and does exactly the same thing he was doing.
Right, now he's pressing because he feels like he's got to make a move.
And it's it's one of those things. We talked about it earlier. You got to trust yourself, and he did. He made a bold move, but at the same time, the guy at 220 going into the 10th.
Right.
You know, when scores are low, he missed a single pin. You start out with spare, a couple clean frames. And I feel like he did something drastic there. It's looking like he's going to play to the right again on the left lane.
Yeah, I think he just moved right and decided to take his hand out of it. But I think he's got to catch it a little bit more. The pattern's a little bit too long for you to try to throw it hard and take your hand out of it. Which he did.
Yeah.
Which he did. And that's too much.
Big forward.
I think he moved a little bit too far right. I think the sweet spot for him is around that 15 to 7 or 8 range instead of trying to go up and at him.
In the chat, somebody was asking for a update on Brandon Bonta, and he had 182 the first game. His opponent Solomon Salama had 155, so he is up 27 pins at the moment after one game.
And Alexander Horton with a great shot there for a double there on 26.
And
he went back to his urethane ball, looks like, right?
And he was down 25 the first game. He's actually made up all those pins already.
Were we sure that's urethane?
That is urethane.
Everybody hooks it more than me anymore, so I can't tell what's urethane and what isn't by just the way the ball's going down the lane.
Oh, you're getting old, Bill.
I know. You show my gray hair.
Almost got up there, just a 2.5.
I think half the gray hair I have is from drinking Bowling Center coffee.
You're gonna have
is this the woe is me Bill O'Neill hour?
This is the make you feel bad hour.
Well, I don't.
Oh, great.
Yeah, good luck
obviously,
with that.
because you didn't take me to Starbucks.
We'll get your Starbucks in the morning when we leave again at 6:30.
Yes, yeah, I'll be back here at 7 a.m.
Uh-oh, Alex didn't like that attempt at the spare.
It seems like his misses. He just everything's open
right.
and it shoots to the
Always
right.
right, yeah.
Just a little too much.
I think some of that could be the fact that these kids are young. They've been bowling all day, all week. So when you get tired, you use more muscle. He's not using his legs enough, so he's pulling that ball behind him. And every time he pulls it behind him, he opens himself up more and lends to him throwing shots to the right.
And especially with the two-handed delivery, you really need to use your legs.
Yeah.
That was a great shot there for Nolan Blessing after his last 2 shots on that lane where he had missed the head pin. Great shot, gave him a double, and put him right back in the lead. That's the thing about match play. When your opponent opens and you're on a strike, you get up there and throw a double, and it's such a turnaround in the match. And although Nate didn't strike there, he definitely looks more comfortable now.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good shot he threw there. They're not easy. So you just got to try to get up there, and wherever you're playing, you just got to try to make the most quality shots you can.
Yeah, he didn't panic. He's got control of the head pin. And right now he's got Pete fishing. I mean, Pete's out there fishing. He's just going to keep it in play and see what happens. Colin Walsh over here on 29 and 30 just threw a turkey. He was up 3 pins after the first game. He has a max score of 280, and Ryan Winters has a max of 269.
It's a
tight match over there.
Perfect way to call the action.
Well, I can go home if you want. You guys can just call the action.
I know that's a threat at this point. That is I know. Any one of us at any point is going to make that threat.
See if Alex Horton can come back after missing that spare. That actually looked like a pretty good shot there, and it was.
Yeah. He's not out of this by any means. If he can somehow throw another double here and
try
to stay clean the rest of the way, he's got a shot.
Got a lot of tight matches right now, actually.
And Pete just moved back inside, so we'll see.
Did he move back in the last frame?
Yep. That looked pretty good.
Oh, that was a great shot. So, Rob, you think he just got a little over anxious there, making that move to the right after Nate put the double on him?
A little bit. I think Bill said it best. If that's spare strike spare, I don't think he makes that move. But when he threw the double, he only had 2 spares. I think what he did was extreme, but I mean, he had a good enough ball reaction to bowl 220. He left a blower 7 in the 10th and missed it. And when we talked about slowing everything down and trusting the process, I think that's one of those moments. Everything was going a little too fast in his head, and he just almost made a knee-jerk type reaction rather than a thought-out decision.
Great spare there by Alex Horton, picking up the washout.
Keeps him in it.
Keeps him right in the match. And Solomon Salama's making a comeback in that match. He was down 27 pins and actually gets the first one in the 10th and shuts the match out. Ooh, lucky break there for Nolan Blessing, tripping the 4. That match very tight right now.
Actually, we got a potential
tie
we do,
situation
yeah.
over
there, yeah.
Strike 9 spare, and then
Yeah.
if Brandon Bonta would strike out, that would be a tie. Oh, and Solomon left a blower 10 on the first shot in the 10th. So he's got a match score of 206. So
double?
Brandon would still need a double.
If he strikes
If he
on the
strikes
fill.
on the fill.
Right.
If he gets 9 on the fill,
it would be,
He needs
we
to
could
fill
have
20.
We could have a
Right.
tie again. He's got to make the 10 pin first. Nolan Blessing shooting the 7 pin. We get two big shots coming up for Alex Horton now. Where he's got a chance to actually really get back even in the match here. Nate got a little quick with that one.
Definitely overthrew that. He went high the frame before that, and I think he tried to overcompensate by giving a little bit extra, and he definitely tell he popped out of that one and tried to use his upper body a little bit too much.
We got a pretty good shot. Oh, terrible
Is that
break.
a light 4-pin?
Yeah, terrible
Wow.
break. Light 4-pin.
Still up 11 with a spare, so if he can make this and get on the lane he's not as comfortable on and somehow get a strike, he's got a chance to win it.
Right. He's going to put basically put the pressure on Nolan. If he picks this up and gets a strike in the 9th, he's going to put the pressure on Nolan to finish the match out. So we're gonna get the first of our special guests in here now. Joining us in the booth now is
Jordan Mott's dad.
multiple PBA champion and former PBA Player of the Year, Jordan Malot's dad.
Hey, that is about Jordan this week.
Wes Malott, welcome to the booth.
Thanks, guys. What's going on down here?
We got some tight matches down here. We heard we're getting some score updates.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on down there.
We got a lot of tight matches going on down here.
Do we know what the fill ball was over there?
He struck.
He did strike,
Yep.
so the match
That
is
was over, yeah.
Yeah, Brandon would have needed a double. So Solomon Salama is going to move on in the winner's bracket. And Alex Horton with a spare. He's going to need a lot of help
He's gonna
here.
need a lot of help.
Yeah, he's going to need a lot of help. And Pete Virgos really needs this strike here. This is a pretty important shot for him. And a great shot there.
Yeah, you know, when Stubler went light and left that split, you know, Pete kind of got a little pep back in his step. He popped up, went back to the back, talked to, I don't know if it was his, you know, dad or friend or somebody, but all of a sudden he got some new life.
Wes, how's the experience been for you being here on the other side of it and not actually throwing the ball? How's that been for you this week?
I mean, it's great. It's, you know, it's honestly, I'm going to say unfortunately, but it's what I'd rather be doing. I get so much out of watching these kids succeed. I mean, we all know. I mean, I talk about it every time I get on a live stream. It's not only here on the lanes, because they're both, both of my boys are very, very talented on the lanes, and then when we're not on the lanes on a weekend, we're on a baseball field. Matter of fact, from here tomorrow, we have a flight to Fort Myers. Jordan's got a big PG-25 tournament down there, and this is the beginning of keeping track of stats and what's going on, and this is where it all starts on the baseball field. So it's an honor really to be able to be out there with them and be able to help them and see them succeed. And even though this first match really wasn't great, I don't know if you guys mentioned it, but Jordan shot 105 the first game and really, really struggled. And about halfway through the second game, I asked him, I said, hey, are you embarrassed? He goes, no. He goes, we all have bad games. I said, that's awesome. That's a great answer. My wife goes, you're a winner in my book.
That's a great answer.
So there goes my question. I was gonna ask you, how do you, as a dad and and somebody who's obviously as accomplished as you, how do you advise him to approach this next match, and not worry about the one before?
Well, with the way the match play's set up and everything, we're changing patterns every round basically. So they have not bowled 2 rounds on the same pattern yet. And when you come in and there's no practice session, you're going in blind draw, 5 minutes of practice. It's really difficult. And obviously with these kids, getting in this environment, their adrenaline's going, 90 to nothing. And so, I was trying to just let him get comfortable and get his feet slower, and that's what I've really been working with him on and I'm pointing out bowlers. Look, his back leg's on the ground, and that's what he's been doing is he's been, coming out of his shoes on every shot, and that's all I've been preaching, this whole match is stay down through the shot, because he was like, oh, it doesn't hook out there, and then when it hooks, obviously it goes crazy. You got to let the ball roll off the pattern, and so that's what we've been working, but it's really, really difficult. I can't ever remember bowling under these circumstances to where, again, there's no practice session. You can't change surfaces on your ball. You're going in a blind draw. You get 5 minutes of practice.
It's over before you know it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It goes very quick.
Way quick. And that's what I told him after he shot. After the first game, and he's down by, the crazy thing is he was only down by 53.
Right.
So, after about 4 frames, I said, all right, here's the deal. This is basically over. And but what we have to do is we have to get lined up for the next match. We've got to figure something out. So don't worry about what it is. Don't worry about necessarily trying to strike to win this match. Let's try and get lined up. And we actually switched to urethane, and that's what Justin was throwing. And so once he threw that and kept the back leg down and didn't wear out of his shoes, and actually had a pretty good look there. So at least got to the pocket, and that's all it's going to take for these guys. I've been saying all week, been preaching, the kids that keep their composure through qualifying and realize that, especially in the U15 group, if you shoot 180 is a good game.
Right.
But if you don't keep your composure, you don't keep your cool, and you can realize that, or you can't realize that, then you're going to shoot 120, 130 real quick, and then you're going to take yourself out of it. But if you keep your composure, realize that, you're going to pop a 220 here or there, 230, and then you're going to get some plus pins out of it, some bonus pins out of it, and you'll be just fine. He was worried today. He shot 160 game 4 over there the last game, and, arms are going up. He's like, the ball's hooking, it's doing this, it's doing that. And I had a heart-to-heart with him, basically. I'm like, dude, I said, you see Justin out there, you see these other kids, they're getting into it. They're running them out, they're doing this, and you're over here throwing your arms up. I said, you got to go out there. I said, this is yours if you want it. I said, if you go out there and take care of business and do what you do and show a little bit of emotion and get into it, he goes double spare 5-bagger the last game. Puts himself into it.
That's awesome.
So it's fun to see him show that emotion, and it gets down to the end, and that's where you see it from all of us. You're seeing it in match play.
And the good thing in this format is he's still not out of the tournament. Had a bad first match, but he's not out of the tournament. He's got a long way to go now, but still has life. And like you said, you get them lined up for the next match, and I don't believe there's a re-oil for the next match. I think they're going to go
No.
right into it. So
Yeah, so over here on 19 to 20, just bringing it up, Spencer Robart struck out for, 230. He was down by 44, I believe. Angelo had 174 in the 8th with a spare in the 9th, tripped the 4-9 in the 10th to pretty much win. He needed a good count. So
We got a good match over here on 29 and 30 too. Ryan Winters just left a 10 pin, and now Colin Walsh needs to throw a double or first one in the 10th. He needs a
And good and decent count.
first one in 9, I believe.
right, he would need the first one and 9 spare. And Ryan Kendall was kind of hanging with Jeffrey Mann that first game. He was only down by 15. However, Jeffrey Mann has a 7-bagger this game. So,
That kid, it is impressive what he's doing this week.
I told you when they were bowling at the end, and we were talking about the seedings and stuff, and I said the seedings really don't matter other than right now you want to stay out of his half of the bracket.
Yeah.
He more than doubled the second place score as far as plus score goes.
Gotcha.
And he just struck again. So he's got spare 8-bagger this second game. And we'll keep you posted here. Colin Walsh getting up in the 10th again. Needs the first hit and 9 spare.
He likes it.
And through the face. So Ryan Winters is going to move on in the winners bracket. And Colin Walsh will go over to the contenders bracket for the second round. Wes, do you know who Jordan's got a bowl in the second round?
I do not.
You have that
I
right
didn't even
here.
look. I didn't look that far.
Should have that right here.
Can you read that?
I'm trying.
Loser to what?
It says loser to
Number 16.
number 16, and I don't see.
It's going to be on this side of the bracket. You couldn't put that down.
Yeah.
So it stays here. So he's going to bowl
Oh, there it is. Okay.
17, or loser to number 16. 15, 15, 16, 16.
Oh, here it is. Match 16, right there.
Oh, gotcha. So he's
So
got
it's match 7 and match 8. So he's going to bowl
Yeah.
the loser of that one. Okay. Brandon Heiska and Joshua Wilson.
both of those guys. Oh. I guess they're done.
I guess that end's done.
They just cleared all the screens and from 11 to 26, and we can't see anything. So that's the U15 there.
Well, he's bowling someone. So
Well, we know
we knew
got to
that.
narrow down to 2.
We got down
Yeah.
to 2.
We do
I
have it narrowed
know.
down. This is the U15 here.
I know that Wilson was up by like 20, I believe, after 1. So we'll see. Both of them throw it pretty good. So
Well, we got a little break in the action here. I think we're going to go to a little break, and as soon as they get the names back in for the next round, we'll come back and give you round 2 of the U15 and U20 boys match play here at the 2017 Junior Gold Championships presented by the brands of Ebonite International.
Sending an invoice for $20 invoice to strike off of $225 or whatever. Signed off the air. Yeah, they don't own it. And I said, don't worry about returning me an invoice. $20.
Hey, since I kept quiet, you ought to avoid that. Well, scratch to the, just rip that invoice out. What's that?
I was asking which one. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's the live back. So they could probably hear us talking. That's what Randy will be on, and he was talking like he was in somewhere, and he's talking about his new condo he's about to buy, and I'm like texting him, and I'm like, dude, can I see it? Which I had already saw because I was just with him. He's like, oh, you can hear that? You know the story? Yeah, I like these things
We still have no ball.
Someone for a second. Don't worry about it.
All right, Brewers, round one has concluded. That means by this year's new rule, you may work on the surface of the ball until the next round's practice begins. Okay, make sure you check the bracket boards for your position, your lane number. And bowlers, please remember in the next round when you finish, one or both of the bowlers on each around lane 40, there's an exit sign on the big white wall. You can't miss it. That is where you will find the bracket boards and where you should bring your recash sheet.
Let me find out what's going on here. Rick, I found out we have two of them wrong already. Spencer's in the losers bracket. Should be pulling against Brandon. I just told him. He wrote it down.
Always, before round two begins, please make sure that you understand all the rules. If you are at your assignments, we are in the process of verifying all the scores from round one. Once all scores have been verified and all names have been added into score monitors, we will get round two started. So bear with us for just a moment while we finalize all the scores.
I just told him that he need to change it. And they'll go short.
Hey,
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the 2017 Junior Gold Championships presented by the Brands of Ebonite International. This is round 2 in the U15 and U20 boys match play. On our 2 featured pairs here, we actually have 2 elimination matches. So we have an elimination match in the U15 with Brandon Bonta and Spencer Robarge, and we have an elimination match in the U20 with Brian Halen and Ryan Kendall. I'm joined in the booth tonight by PBA Tour champion Bill O'Neill and PBA PWBA Tour rep from Ebonite International, Rob Gottschall. Gentlemen, this is our last match for the night, and we got some intensity here with elimination matches.
It's do or die now. It's you got to win to move on, and you lose. Unfortunately, your tournament's over. We got defending U15 champion in one match, and a couple of nice young players here in the U20 division as well.
You got the two kids here on the U15, Spencer and Brandon. I mean, both throw it really well. Really impressed by Spencer's game. I mean, he is. That's the thing about the two-handers. If you can create a ton of power, but you have to be able to have a solid base and can control your ball roll. He definitely does both those things, and to be able to do that at such a young age is really impressive.
And Spencer Robarge in this U15 match is actually was a champion in the U12 division of this event 2 years ago.
It was the U12. I'm sorry, my apologies.
Yeah.
I thought he won U15.
No, it was 2 years ago he won the U12 division. And our match over here on the right with Ryan Kendall. Ryan Kendall actually bowled a really good match in the first round. He shot about 430 for his 2-game set and lost by 70. He had the unfortunate luck of bowling Jeffrey Mann, who is just on a mission right now.
Yeah, he's in a league of his own right now. I mean, I'm just still amazed by all the talent out here and how good all of these guys are out here. And to watch Jeffrey go out there and lead by so much and continue his role in the match play with as much talent as there in the field is really impressive.
We got our scoreboards up there for you now. We'll keep track of it for you as well. We'll try to give you as many updates on the other matches as we can. We can't see all of them from where we're at, but we'll get an update as much as we can. Jeffrey Mann is bowling just one pair to the right of our live stream here, so we'll be able to keep you updated on that. He is bowling against David Hooper.
And David Hooper has impressed me this week. I got to see him bowl in about 3 different houses. Very, very solid game. He bowled very consistent across the board all week. So Jeffrey's going to have his hands full a little bit, but he's still got to be the favorite just based on how he's bowled all week and what he bowled the last round.
I got to tell you, right in front of us here, Spencer looks like he's on a mission. I don't think he was too happy that he lost that first match, and he looks really focused right now, and he's thrown it incredible. His ball reaction looks really good.
And Brandon on the right side here, he's followed a couple guys that threw a lot of urethane last time, but they threw it right in the track, and he's doing the same thing they were. So it'd be kind of interesting to see how the lanes transition over here in the U20 match. Watching Ryan Kendall's first shot, he's playing the outside part of the lane. We watched Pete kind of beat it up a little out there. Ryan's a lot softer, so we'll see if that's an advantage for him or if he starts to see a little goofy transition with what Pete kind of did in practice the first set.
And Brian Halen, his opponent there, is actually playing a little to the right, also throwing urethane. So that was not happening on that pair last match, so we could see some transition there as well.
Looks to me like Brandon's going to be in a pretty big disadvantage here. Following a couple of younger two-handed guys that were in the first match, and both throwing urethane from 2 different parts of the lane. One guy was hooking it, one guy was throwing a little bit. Angles were a little tighter, throwing a little straighter, and to bowl the guy that qualified first in your division and is also happens to be a lefty, and he's not on that side of the lane worrying about the urethane balls, that's a pretty big disadvantage.
And
it's a tough draw for him.
Spencer might be on a little bit of a mission here, being the top seed and losing in the first round. And from what I understand, he led by quite a bit as well. And Brian Halen got that one way right, and that not going to get back. And, you know, we saw that out of Pete Virgo when he did move right for those couple shots. So we'll see if either one of these guys decide to make the move in where Pete was playing.
It's one thing I've seen a lot so far, you know, this throughout the whole day, you know, the hours we've been watching bowling, is that you've seen a lot of overcompensation, you know, from one shot to the next. You know, it's the you know, yank one in, next shot goes right, and vice versa. And that's what Brian did, you know, in the second he yanked it high, and then, you know, he kind of opened his shoulders up a little bit and got a little bit too muscled and threw it to the right, and you know, overthrew it. And I think I think a lot of these kids are you know, they're not letting the frame before, you know, pass. You know, they're remembering what they did the shot before and letting it affect their next one.
And a little early update with Jeffrey Mann and David Hooper. David Hooper's off with the front 4. Jeffrey Mann's made 3 good shots in 4 frames. He has no doubles, 3 spares, and a strike. After back-to-back opens by Brian Halen, we'll see if Ryan Kendall can take advantage of that. And follows it right up with a big split of his own.
Jeffrey Mann's going to be making a ball change here in the 5th frame.
That was a pretty good ball change. It worked. And an open frame for Ryan Kendall. Early on with a 12-pin lead. Only through 3 frames. Dennis Hacker with a shout out to myself and Bill O'Neill. Good evening, Dennis.
Oh, thanks, Dennis. How are you? I got to tell you, we've been bothered by a fly near our booth. How long have we been here? It's been about 14 hours with this one fly. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah, he's been a little.
So
annoying.
when I'm like silent for a long period, it's because I'm following this fly around like Walter White.
Do we need to get you chopsticks? Can you catch him in chopsticks?
No, I can't pick up a piece of chicken with chopsticks, so certainly can't. Certainly can't do it with a fly.
That was a good shot by Brandon there for ring 10. Much closer than the last couple, so.
Yeah, he's having a tough time getting his ball to read the pattern quite right. I mean, it's just that shot was really good, and it just didn't roll a little bit too early, and just didn't have enough on the back end to continue through the pins.
David Feldman gave you a shout out, Bill. Said, "What's up, Bill?"
Hi, David.
Also, Axe in the chat. Thanks for the Mystery Science Theater 3000 comment. Appreciate that.
What? What did you say? The what?
He said watching bowling's better with no commentators. It's kind of like Mystery Science Theater 3000. Remember that show?
No.
That was before Bill's time.
Yeah. I'm showing my age.
I mean, I can go home. I haven't.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
I've been here since 7. So solid 15 hours. I can leave.
So the ball change over there on the pair to the right of our live stream with Jeffrey Mann, after David Hooper did get the strike in the 5th and he opened in the 6th, and the ball change, Jeffrey Mann's now thrown a double after that. Made that match a little closer.
I'm going to take the wireless camera somewhere, guys. Where would you like for me to go with that for another pair? What are we thinking? Commentators pick.
I don't know, we've been talking a lot about Jeffrey. We can't see that pair, right? So is it the kid who led the tournament and won it last year and is down early in this match? I think it's a solid enough story.
Seems like it would be. Brian Halen's really struggling here.
Yeah, I was just going to say, both guys just look really uncomfortable right now.
And Spencer, on the other hand, looks very comfortable in this match now.
He's pretty dialed in.
Jeffrey Mann's got a lot of followers. There's a lot of people asking for him in the chat. And Spencer missed that spare after a bad break on a great shot. Ryan Kendall still not looking very comfortable there either. We got a really low scoring match to start right there.
I think some of that might have been to do how Pete played him in the first match. You know, he was kind of moving all over the place and kind of used a lot of surface, you know, during practice, you know, created probably a little bit of a hook spot in the front of the lane, you know, and then moved away from it, never really, you know, developed it enough for there to create, you know, a hook spot to throw at. It just made it a hook spot where you're trying to play up the lane. So, you know, he got away from that and played in and you know, kind of crossed the lanes up a little bit. And I think you're seeing that now with what's going on.
We got a little quick shot of David Hooper there with a great shot and a strike for a double after he had the open. And he's got max score of 264 right now. And Jeffrey Mann with max score of 224. Jeffrey, we're going to get a look at Jeffrey bowling in his 8th frame right now. And a little bit light for 2-8.
We spoke earlier about fundamentals. You know, just watching Jeffrey's last couple shots, got just a little bit extra head movement. His head's not as still as it was before. He's not staying down in his shots as well, and it's leading to a few errant shots out there. And obviously, you know, David's putting on a little pressure by stringing some strikes. But you know, he's got to collect himself and calm down. Kind of got the same thing over here on 25 and 26 with Brandon as he's bowling Spencer. Brandon looks a little stressed. He needs to just collect himself and try to make some good shots here for the last 2 frames of this game in the next 10 frames.
Spencer kind of pull up on that one and go through the nose. Maybe a little frustration from missing the spare of the frame before. And still, Ryan Kendall still not looking very comfortable. Does make the spare there, but
keeps himself in front though. You know, just we were talking about earlier how you just got to play your opponent in this kind of format and just try to keep making your spares on a you know, a grind out pair like this.
And no problem with the spare for Spencer that time. Another shot through the nose for Brian Halen. Brian Halen had the highest score earlier in the final advancers round when they were pretty tough, and he bowled phenomenal. He actually had about 740 for the first 3 games that round.
Yeah, he made a huge jump. I mean, he wasn't all that close to the number, right? And he just bowled 740 the first 3 and locked himself in within a couple games.
That was a great shot by Spencer there. Brian Halen making his spares while he's trying to find something to get going in that match. And Bill, when you come to a new pair like this in a new match and you only get a couple shots of practice and you're not real lined up like Brian and Ryan Kendall, what do you do to try to get out of that and try to figure out what's going on there? They both look very uncomfortable. How do you get yourself out of that?
You know what? There's no real defined perfect spot to play on this pattern, it seems like, or this pair in general. I think what Brian just did right there is what he has to do. Throw it a little bit, whatever his comfort zone is. I would think for him it's throwing a little bit firmer.
Right.
So get in a spot where you can throw it a little bit firmer and do what your A game is. Try to go back to what your A game is. And for him, a little bit firmer, throw it at the 3-pin. Don't give away the pocket too much. Don't try to create too much angle and do things you're not necessarily comfortable with, because that's what's going to lead to more bad shots when you start getting uncomfortable. So just get back to what made you get here and play your A game and just go after it. And commit. You got to commit. You got to be fully invested in your shot.
Guys, we're getting a bunch of people asking for specific matches in the chat. Again, unfortunately, we can only see a few pairs here, so we're kind of at the mercy of the scoring updates as well. We're doing the best we can. We can only see about 6 or 7 pairs here, so we'll keep you posted on the ones we can see. David Hooper actually has struck through the first ball in the 10th, still with a max score of 264. And we're going to get a look at him right here. This is his second ball in the 10th. So he's going to be in the 250s. Jeffrey Mann's going to have to strike out in the 10th for 193. So he's going to be at a big deficit going to this second game. Brandon finishes with 168.
That's a nice move he made there in the fill. I think that's a much better spot for him to get out of. You try to maybe use the urethane was a little bit more of a hold spot. I'm speaking about the match before. What they use urethane, and him being able to tumble it and roll it like that. I think it's a better spot for him, and we'll see what happens this next game.
To look at Spencer Robarge has max score of 224, so he could take a 56-pin lead going into game 2 if he strikes out here in the 10th. Didn't look like he liked that one. He pulled up on it.
He came up out of that one quite a bit.
Yeah, he did not stay down on that one. David Hooper did finish with 252. And a good spare there by Ryan Kendall, just kind of keeping him in the match. Jeffrey with the first shot in the 10th is a strike. Can still shoot 193, but striking out would still leave him down by 59 pins going into the second game. Either way, going to be a tough position for our defending champion to be in.
All right, guys, I got a few scores for you down here. Game 1 of the match between Wesley Lowe and Cortez Schenk. Wesley Lowe with 267, Cortez Schenk 238.
High scoring match.
That's a good match.
There.
Those are two quality players. That's an excellent move by Brian there.
And now with a double. Jeffrey Mann did get a second one in the 10th, so he's going to be down in around 57, 58, 59 pins, depending on what he gets on the fill ball here. What do you think the key is when you're down that much going into the second game? What do you think the early on key is for that to try to get yourself back in the match?
You have to start off with a triple. You have to. You have to let your opponent know that you're still there. If you start out spare, or open spare, and just gives your opponent that breathing room, and you don't put the pressure on them. They're never going to give it back to you.
Brian Halen with a great break there to roll the 2 for a triple.
All the matches we've seen so far, you can definitely tell with these two is that every little mistake that these guys make, they can't the pocket. It's not like, oh, they made a little mistake and they flat 10, they 4-pin. Like every time they come up out of the shot a little bit, or they miss it at the bottom just a little bit. I mean, he had to get lucky to roll the 2-pin there, but you can just see the ball just doesn't come back. They're really tough out there.
Our match over here to the left, Angelo Biondo and Solomon Salama. Angelo Biondo is going to need to strike on his fill ball for 160. Solomon Salama has a max score of 204 if he strikes out in the 10th. Spencer with a great shot there for a double.
He's getting into it a little bit. I like it.
So Jeffrey Mann finished with 190. He is down by 62 pins, and David Hooper struck in the first frame of game 2. Hey, Axe in the chat, we're real sorry, but these cameras aren't mobile, so we get these four lanes in front of us, and we get one other once in a while that we can take a look at, which is on Jeffrey Mann's pair right now. So, again, we're doing the best we can.
I'm just waiting on a couple bowlers to finish up here to our right in the U20 boys division, and I'll run down and kind of give a little recap of each match so everybody in the chat can kind of at least have a little understanding of what happened in the first game of every match.
We get a quick look at Jeffrey Mann, who started with a strike in the first frame and now started with a double. So that's what you were talking about, Billy. He put the double in there.
Yep.
He made sure to let David Hooper know, I'm not going away. You're still going to have to show up this game.
He's going to need a big one, though. I don't think David Hooper's going away.
No, I don't think so either. Solomon Salama is going to finish with 193. So he is going to have a 36-pin lead over Angelo Biondo going to game 2. Nate Stubler has 211, Ryan Winters 201. So Nate Stubler has a 10-pin lead over Ryan Winters after one game.
Down here, I got Justin Whistler with 269 the first game over Caleb House with 187.
Big deficit there for Caleb.
I can give you some scores from down here. Solomon Salama 192 over Angelo Biondo 157. Alexander Horton 186. Connor Brink bested him so far through the first game 191, so just a 5-pin match there. Nicholas Verano posted a 191. Michael Harmon Jr. can bowl 217 on a fill. Make it 216 for Michael Harmon Jr. Anthony Nyer bowled 188. His opponent, TJ Rock, bowled 212. Joshua Wilson, 192. Justin Bone, 168.
still waiting on some scores to be updated down here, so I can report back to you guys. I do have an update on the Cortez Schenk Wesley Lowe match. They are through 7 frames, and Cortez Schenk has 279 left, and Wesley Lowe has 238 left.
Wow.
So Wesley was up 29 through the first game, and now he actually trails in the match with 3 frames to go.
That's a pretty high-scoring match down there, and a pretty close match between two of the bowlers that have the reputations here of being the better players in the event too.
All the way down here on 11 and 12, Jordan Malott rebounded nicely with 214 over Brandon Heiska, 182. So 32-pin lead for Jordan Malott, 11 and 12.
Peter Virgos, who we've seen a lot today, had 198 the first game. Colin Walsh, 192. So Peter with a 6-pin lead after a game. And I got Christopher Yadao with 191, Jake Farley 189. So we got quite a few tight matches down here in the U20 boys.
And right in front of us here, Brian had an unbelievable finish. It is so hard to have 87 in the 6th and bowl a 200 game, and he changed what he was doing and just threw some great shots in the 10th there, and took full advantage of that rolled 2-pin in the 9th, which is when they're hard, you have to do that. You got to take full advantage of all the good breaks you get. And those shots he threw in the 10th frame were really good. Now it seems like both these guys are a little bit closer to the pocket, so I think we're gonna have a good game coming down the stretch here.
Brian Halen with a 21-pin lead after the one match. And quick update on Jeffrey Mann and David Hooper. David Hooper's got the front 3, bowling in the 4th frame right now, and just got the 4th one. And Jeffrey Mann, after he started with the double, had a split for an open in the 3rd frame and then a spare in the 4th. So he's in a lot of trouble right now.
That match is all but over there.
Yeah, he's dangerously close to being in the contenders bracket after this match. But with there still being a contenders bracket, he is not out of the event.
I got one more for you. Colby Money, 213. Nolan Blessing, 190. That should take care of it down here.
Patrick, you're asking about seeing the Wesley Lowe match. Unfortunately, the cameras are not set up down there. They're down further down the other end of the center.
Yeah, they're actually down here on the last pair of the U20 boys on 41 and 42.
I think we're going to have Mike move the camera.
They're coming down to the 9th and 10th. Wesley Lowe just struck in the 9th. He can strike out for 238.
Run, Mike.
And Cortez Schenk has 259 left. He missed in the 8th, struck in the 9th. So real good finish down here on 41 and 42. And Mike's getting down here with the portable camera.
Well, we're going to get down there and take a look right here. Just catch the tail end of Wesley Lowe with a great break there, tripping the 6 out.
Yeah, you're gonna have to squint there, Dave. I can't see that. Help us out. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, Mike's gonna.
Wesley Lowe, he basically needs the next one.
Yeah, if he doesn't get this one, then Cortez could get up and strike out to win.
That is correct.
So this next shot for Wesley is to shut out the match. And I believe this is in the contenders bracket, correct, Mike? This is an elimination match?
Yes, they're both in the contenders bracket, Dave.
So this is a big shot for Wesley here. We're going to keep it right here and see if he can shut out the match. Take advantage of the great break he just got by tripping the 6-pin. And he looked like he got a little fast with that one.
It was very fast.
So that is going to give Cortez If I did the quick math right, that's going to give Cortez a chance to double to win, correct?
Wesley with a spare will have 493, and Cortez can strike out for 497.
So he'll need a double and 5.
That is correct.
Great bowling by Wesley, and you know, he's put the pressure on Cortez. Cortez has to get up now and make 2 shots. Taking no time at all. And right through the face, that's going to do it. Wesley Lowe is going to advance in the contenders bracket, and Cortez is going to be eliminated. Get a look at Wesley there, breathing a little sigh of relief. We're going to come back down here to our matches down here. And Brian Halen started out with a double after, you know, Bill, you were talking about the end of last match where he looked like he got a little comfortable, and now he started this match with a double.
Yeah, I think he's definitely found his comfort zone out there, and you know, when they're hard and you make a little bit of a mistake, like, you know, one of the shots in that game, you look, he got a little bit left and it held. That gives you, it loosens that swing up. So now he's staying down a little more in his shot, and he's able to post him a little more, and then it creates a little bit more ball reaction that way.
And Spencer still with a comfortable lead. He had a 24-pin lead the first game, and Brandon just with another open in the 7th frame. Spencer basically just needs to stay clean here.
Yeah, Brandon had a shot there to get back in the match. If he struck there the 7th, put a little heat on Spencer, and he just got it just a little bit to the right, and it just didn't have enough to get back.
Guys, we've repositioned the secondary camera here behind lanes 33 and 34. We got Pete Virgos, who had 198 the first game, and Colin Walsh, who had 192. Colin's got a max score of 267 the second game, and Peter has a max score of 246.
So we've got another really close match there. We've got it on now.
I apologize, 256.
Seeing Colin Walsh. Great shot there.
I like his game a lot. He throws it really good.
Rob, what frame is Colin going into this?
They are both through 6 frames.
Okay.
So Colin's getting ready to bowl the 7th. He can have 267, and Peter can have 256, and Colin trails by 6 in the match.
So we got a really close match going on there. We'll keep it here and watch a little bit of this one. And we'll give you an update on David Hooper and Jeffrey Mann. Match is pretty much over. David Hooper would have to open the last 4 frames in order for Jeffrey to even have a chance, and he just left a 4-pin and made the spare.
And Spencer just came back with a split through the face there on a spare. And this match isn't over yet.
Yeah, you know, when you talk about the lanes being so hard, and we talk about he's just got to stay clean. That's not the easiest thing in the world to do when the lanes are so hard.
You know, because you don't want to be trying to fit it in. You know, you don't want to be trying to aim it out there. Once you start doing that, you start to over muscle it. You start to steer it down the lane, and it creates really bad shots.
You see a 4-pin there for Pete Virgos. We're gonna bring it back over here. Also, we're gonna keep an eye on this Spencer Robarge match, as that open made it a little closer. We'll get back over to the Colin Walsh match in just a few minutes. Spencer trying to convert his 6-pin here. No problem. Pretty much a must strike the next 2 shots for Brandon here if he wants to have any chance to come back in this match. Still down by 24 pins from the first game. Only 3 frames left for him in this match.
Yeah, I like that one off his hand. That was a good shot.
And that was very good.
He's got a really nice ball roll.
Check out Pete Virgo down here real quick. That was a great shot by Pete right there.
Pete's now through 8 frames, has a max score of potential of 245, and Colin Walsh still with a chance to bowl 267.
And Brandon Bonta did not strike in the 9th frame, so
he just did exactly what I was talking about with the overcompensation. The last frame he left the 2A, got a little right, and he tried to help it, not get it that far right, and he ended up going Brooklyn, leaving 6-pin.
Great shot by Colin Walsh there. And we've got a really good match going down there. What frame is Colin getting up in now, Rob?
Colin's getting ready to bowl the 9th frame. He's on a 5-bagger, still got 267. We got another pretty tight match over here just to the right of them. Where after Colin's shot, we'll move the camera over just a little bit, show you what's going on here. But big ring 10 for Colin.
That was a great shot.
Over here on the pair next to him, we got Christopher Udow. Had 191 the first game, and we have Jake Farley 189. So Christopher leads by 2. Christopher has 176 in the 8th frame. Jake is working on a double. He's to make the 610 here, and he would have 161 in the 8th. So down by 17 overall with 2 to go, but you put a couple strikes up there and the match can change.
Right.
Colin Walsh converted the spare.
So Pete Virgo getting up in the 9th frame now, is that correct?
He is getting up in the 9th frame. He can strike out for 245, and Colin has 246 left. If Pete were to strike out, the match would be over as he leads by 6.
So he's got ball in hand here in the 9th and 10th. We're going to keep it right here for a minute and watch the end of this match.
He didn't like it.
He got that one up the lane just a little bit, guys.
So leaves the 3-pin. Needs to make the spare. Regain his composure, make a couple good shots in the 10th, and put the pressure back on Colin Walsh.
He cannot shut out Colin.
No problem with the spare there.
With the spare, he can now double strike out in the 10th for 225. Colin still has 246 left. So big, probably a real crucial double here for Pete.
And quick update down here on the Spencer Robarge Brandon Bonta match. Spencer Robarge has closed out that match. He's going to shoot 190 or 191 this last game, and the best Brandon Bonta can do is 200 even. Got one other update. Colby Money has defeated Nolan Blessing in their match. That match is over.
Pete Virgos with the first one in the 10th. He needs the second one in the 10th here to force Colin Walsh to get a mark and some good count.
That was a big Brooklyn by Christopher Udow.
Yeah, Christopher Udow needed a mark in the 10th to move on, and he got the Brooklyn strike, so he's going to move on.
This is Pete Virgo's second shot in the 10th, and this is a big double for him right here. And he liked it, and a 4-pin. So does Colin even need a mark in the 10th now?
He's got 196 in the 8th, spare in the 9th. So he's going to need? I'm trying to think here.
It's late in the day.
He's going to need like 8.
All right. And the David Hooper has officially won his match over Jeffrey Mann, so the defending champion will now be dropped into the contenders bracket and have a little bit longer way to go to get back to the TV show to defend his title.
I believe Colin needs 7 on the first ball to ensure a tie. 8 will be a win. Really good shot, ring 10.
Great shot, ring 10, and that's going to be enough to close out that match.
Tough way to end the tournament for Pete. I mean, he let the match, the first match that we were carrying here, kind of let it slip away, and kind of lost a little bit of mental focus on what he was doing on the lanes, and when this kind of a format, you're in and out quick. You know, it's 2 games, and you get in that losers bracket, and you catch a guy who bowls really well. Next thing you know, you're out of the tournament.
Yeah, and again, it goes by so fast. 2-game match, and it just
happens.
Next thing you know, it's gone. We got a lot of matches that are just about done or done. We've got a couple matches that are only in the 5th frame. We've got Ryan Winters and Nate Stubler, and they're locked up in a pretty tight battle. Nate Stubler won the first game by 10 pins, but is down 23 in the second game through 5 frames. So we got a tight match over there.
Going to have another final here. Justin Whistler is going to defeat Caleb House. They're not finished yet, but Caleb has been shut out.
And we just saw Nate Stubler leave a light shaker 7-pin.
Those of you looking for the Michael Martell, Joseph Grondin update, Michael had 229 the first game. Joseph had 190, and Michael currently leads by 19 through 7 frames. So he's got a 48-pin overall lead with 4 frames to go.
Thanks for that update down there. And I think we're going to get some coverage here in just a moment on the Nate Stubler Ryan Winters match, as they're down through 6 frames. And again, Nate Stubler had a 10-pin lead, but is down by 23 in this second game. So we're going to head over to that match. Brian Halen's got a pretty commanding lead now in this match over here, so we're gonna head over and watch a little bit of this Nate Stubler match. Nate's taking his time. He's being very deliberate this game.
You know, we had Nate on the live stream pair of the last set, and we talked a little bit in the first game how he rushed himself a little bit. So it's nice that he's composing himself here and trying to make good shots.
That was a pretty good shot right there. Little kind of half ring 7 there, but a pretty good shot.
Yeah, it's looked like he's come in with a little different strategy this block too. He's playing a little further to the left, more towards the gutter, where, you know, the last set he was a little more in the middle of the lane, just inside the track.
And we're coming down to the end of this last round of match play today in the U20 and U15 boys here at the 2017 Junior Gold Championships presented by the Brands of Ebonite International. Got about 3 or 4 frames left in a couple matches, and we got a tight match going on here, and Nate Stubler with a missed spare and already being down a lot in this second game. Ryan Winters is going to have a chance to get up and double here and really put the pressure on Nate. Take a look at Ryan Winters right here.
Couple of finals for you guys. Jordan Malott was defeated by Brandon Heiska. Justin Bone was defeated by Joshua Wilson.
Thanks for those updates, Mike.
TJ Rock defeated Anthony Nyer.
And we saw a great shot there by Ryan Winters. And saw a little emotion by Ryan there too. He getting late in the match. He knows, you know, you win this match, you get to go get some rest and come back with a fresh mind for the last day of the event. And I don't know how you feel about it, Bill, but when you bowl on the last day of the event, that means you've had a pretty good week.
It's really cool. I mean, bowling the Masters this year, that's the way I felt. You know, it was when 2-0, and I got to come back in the morning and bowl, and and it was just really cool to go to sleep that night and know that you were coming back and you had a lot to bowl for in the morning. There was only a handful of people left, and
what another great shot there by Ryan Winters. He's pretty much made Nate Stubler's going to really have to put 2 strikes up here in the 8th and 9th, or that match may be over.
Yeah, Stubler's got a max score left of 191. Ryan Winters 236. Nathan's really going to need to put a double up here in the 8th and 9th.
Yeah, if he doesn't, he's got to put the double up there to make Ryan Winters think about it. Put some pressure back on him. Our match over here in front of us, Brian Halen's going to close out that match and defeat Ryan Kendall. So Ryan Kendall's going to be eliminated. Still, nothing to hold your head down about that.
No, you get this far in this event. There's nothing to hang your head about.
Right, and there, we see Nate after missing the spare comes back, composes himself, makes a great shot when he needs to absolutely make a great shot, and now he's got to just take his time, make sure he makes one more good shot here, and put a little pressure on Ryan Winters.
One other final, Michael Martell is going to defeat Joseph. I'm just going to use his last initial, G. I can't read the last name from all the way down here, but Michael Martell will be a winner over Joseph.
And Nate Stubler, really important shot right here.
Wow.
Oh, he made a great shot. So max score for Nate Stubler now is going to be 171.
Looks like our match to the left here is just wrapped up. Looks like Solomon's going to beat Angelo, correct? If I'm doing my math right, he's going to get to 180.
Yes.
Yes.
Solomon Salama is going to move on. Angelo Biondo is going to be. I don't know if he's going to be eliminated. I don't know. No, that's a winner's bracket.
That's a winner's bracket
match.
because Spencer was in the
right.
contenders.
That's a winner's bracket match. So Angelo Biondo will be dropped into the contenders bracket. Solomon Salama is going to move on in the winner's bracket in the U15 division. And looks like Ryan Winters is really just going to need a couple marks here to close out this match against Nate Stubler. He's made 2 great shots leading up to this one. That one was a little right. Still got there, and
that pretty much seals the deal.
That's going to do it. Ryan Winters is going to move on. And Nate Stubler will be dropped into the contenders bracket. And that, I believe, is going to be our last match that's going on right now. We'll watch the end of this match. While we're finishing up, I do want to say thank you to Bill O'Neill, Rob Gottschall, Mike Flanagan for being in the booth. Our special guests today, we had Marshall Holman stop by. We had the USBC Executive Director Chad Murphy stop by. PBA Tour Champion and former PBA Player of the Year Wes Malott stopped by. Here at the Game of Wickliffe. Make sure and tune in tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, where we will have round 3 of the U15 and U20 boys match play. Hope everybody in the chat had a good time. Hope everybody watching had a good time tonight. And again, Ryan Winters is going to close out this last match over Nate Stubler, and we're going to be done for the night. Do want to say thank you to the USBC and all the volunteers. This is such a great event. This 2017 Junior Gold Championships. Thank you to Ebonite International for the sponsorship and the brands of Ebonite International, Hammer, Track, Columbia 300, and Ebonite. And once again, make sure you join us tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time for rounds 3 and on to determine our winners. And a good finish by Nate Stubler. He's got 2 more shots to throw before we sign off. I had to start my thank yous early. I had a lot of people to thank now that we're at the end. And finishes the 6-pin. He's got to shoot that spare. He's going to finish with 161 making the spare. Ryan Winters had 212 the last game. Thank you again to all the viewers out there, and thanks again to our sponsors. This has been the 2017 Junior Gold Championships, U15 and U20 boys match play here in Cleveland, Ohio at Game of Wickliffe, and we will see you all tomorrow morning.